Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Hey there, Star Wars Destiny folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando. So we are officially in spoiler season for ARH4 Unlikely Heroes, ticking down to that mid-November release date. We've got a whole week under our belts. That's what we're doing today is week 1 spoiler review. Hey there, Destiny folks. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Wednesday. So ARH came out swinging for this set for sure. So week 1, we got 2 batches of spoilers. Obviously the Bo-Katan and Yellow Hero spoilers that Rock and Troll came on and presented here. And then Echo Base opened the door with some red villain spoilers, and they are not to disappoint. Now, I do know that a little bit before I'm shooting this, and obviously, you know, the day before this is released, Honestly Sarcastic did drop the blue hero spoilers. I'm not going to cover those here because it's not within the 24-hour window. And also, I don't really know what to do with one of those spoilers yet because it's pretty good. So, focusing entirely on the week 1 spoilers today. And I do want to say going in that ARH has really thrown us a curveball with this one. And what I mean isn't even necessarily the cards, right? But we have 2 pretty significant events that I feel that because of the 2 significant events we have, which is the reprint list shake up and convergence rotation, which then will also potentially trigger some of them not rotating with the reprint list, right? So it makes it very, very difficult we always say in a vacuum without knowing the next set, but like not only do we not know the next set, but we don't know what we're losing from convergence. We don't know what we're losing from the reprint list. I mean, we can make some pretty logical assumptions, but I do think it's officially the hardest. I think without a doubt, I think it's safe to say that this is the hardest spoiler. This is the hardest spoiler season that we've ever had in which to evaluate cards. I think I just said that properly, correct. Yeah. So it is tough to evaluate cards because we don't know. There's a lot we don't know, but that's okay. That's not a bad thing. So we can kind of just look at the cards themselves, and we don't necessarily need to look at where they're going to fit unless we know for sure stuff's going to be around. So I won't speak too much on Bo-Katan because I basically did a love letter episode to her. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that she's 13 health for 16 points. That's really bonkers, right? I mean, her die's really good. Bo-Katan is a beast. Now, we did have Michelle Zenzola point out that he liked Bo-Katan with Wookiee Tribe, so Wookiee Warrior Elite with Valorous Tribe. I actually really like that pairing because they're both troopers also, right? So not only you have Valorous Tribe, which granted can only do the Wookiee thing, but like, are they going to go for your Wookiee first to turn off your healing? Like, probably not. You can run to safety. You've got matching subtypes. I like that. So that's a really good call. I really like that. So that's one we hadn't talked about, right? I mean, everybody's head was kind of like, how do we view the special? Which I think it should be. But sometimes good stuff Destiny is just the answer. And turning Bo-Katan into a tank with vibro swords and stuff like that seems pretty good. All right, so moving on to Mandalorian Vault. So discard this. So it's 1-drop support. Discard if it has 2 or more damage on it. Now it's unique, so you can only have 1 at a time. But as was pointed out, right, it discards itself. So you only get 1 at a time, but it's not like you can only run 1 in your deck. Action: spot a blue character, exhaust the support, and place 1 damage on it to remove a character die. So it's 1 drop for 2 removal esque, right? I mean, as long as you have the stuff, but this card's really going to be built for a big blue of sorts, right? Because the include is, you just have to splash yellow. Then you've got your big blue. So as long as you're, doing your thing, you've got built-in dual removal. Seems pretty good, right? Don't hate it. I don't know that there's much more to say on this. Like, I think it's a little above curve. I mean, I think it's balanced out by the fact that you have to, like, it's a little balanced by the fact that it's limited to the, specific color decks. But I think I still think it's like one of those weird things where it's like, it's a little above curve, but it's not so far above curve that it should have to cost more. You know what I mean? So, well, I mean, and a lot of other stuff we're seeing so far has been above curve as well. So this probably fits right in, right? It's one of those things like, well, when we tested it, it tested fine because, everything else is. So, I mean, fair enough. We'll have to see how it plays out. I mean, my head still goes to BDL on this one. But, I mean, we're seeing some pretty big dice and pretty big health. So like BDL may not, BDL may be the new 18-point character, right? Type of thing. So we'll have to see where that goes or who else comes out. But yeah, I mean, Ki-Adi Mundi's no joke, right? So we'll see what people decide to do with him. I mean, you could do Ki Benthic, right? For just some more removal. Yeah. All right, we'll see. All right, next one, Strike a Deal. I like this card. This is a pretty functional card. Remove die showing a value of 1 or more. That way you can't target a special. Then each opponent gains resources equal to half of the die rounded up. It's kind. I mean, yeah, it's right on curve. Actually, it might be a little below curve. It's tough to figure out, right? Like, because give them a resource to remove a die. I mean, functionally, we've had cards similar to that or effects similar to that, right? So that's pretty much on par. The question is, it's probably a little below curve, but it depends. Like, it depends what portion of the game, right? So like, it's well below curve early. It's probably not that relevant like round 4 or 5. You know what I mean? So I actually really like this card. Just from like a design standpoint. I mean, I'm not in love with this card particularly, but I love the concept behind this. I think it's a really well done card because I'm not going to say forces decisions because, I mean, honestly, you're probably not going to use it. You're probably not going to use it early because like it's probably not a decision. What I mean is like it's probably not much of a decision to just like get rid of it early is what I'm saying. And then later, I mean, if the argument is that people don't care about resources later, then do you care about resources later, right? So then do you really need it to be 0 drop? So that is interesting, actually. I'm kind of talking to myself about it, but that is an interesting point to that. So anyway, either way, I still like the design behind the card, whether or not it's functional or not. I mean, yeah, we'll have to see because again, it's hard to put into context of what else isn't going to be there anymore, right? So like if we don't, because isn't Lothcat in Convergence? I think it is, right? So like say Lothcat goes away, I mean, I guess that's about the same because you're removing one of your dice. All right. Moving on. Interesting. Let me know what you think about this card. Interesting. Like Beacon, I'm giving you a call out, man. Like, is this card above or below? Interesting. Whether or not it's an include or not, I don't think we can say that yet. I'm just like trying to evaluate where the curve it is. But I think the answer then is what point on the game. So fair enough. All right, moving into the Echo-based spoilers. And again, another shout out to our boys over there. Go read their stuff. They do a great job. They're also heavily invested in, the game itself, but they're also heavily busy doing other stuff. So their site content has dropped, but that doesn't mean that there's any lack of work coming out of there, right? Because they're running the tournaments, and they're pretty much the tournament scene in Europe for the most part right now. So anyway, huge shout out to those guys. So this is Tarkin, Uncompromising Tactician. I really, really, really like the art choice on this. So nicely done, Sarah and team. This guy's a red villain at 10-13 with 11 health. I mean, fair enough. As long as it's balanced within the set, it's fine. His die is 2 indirect, 3 indirect for 1. 2 focus, discard resource in a blank. Power action, reveal an opponent's hand. You may discard a card from your hand to discard a card of your choice from that opponent's hand with the same cost. Very functional, but may not always do it. In which case, it's just a tempo loss. So the clapping was due to. I'm really happy that they decided to bring in the indirect to pay costs. I'm to pay die costs, I should say. I'm really happy with that decision. Yeah, I'm just really happy to see that. So functionally, this guy's like got a better die than Gerrera did back in the day. I don't know. That's a really good die. The 2 focus is strong. So I was kind of thinking, and it's interesting, right? Because like I don't hate this guy with like Kylo Ren. I don't hate it like RDM Kylo. I mean, like I don't hate him with that. That said, I think a lot of that depends on if Shoto goes away or not, right? Because like if you can keep generating the shields that Kylo kind of needs to do his thing, plus like the indirect feels really bad in a heavy shield meta, right? So like I said, I don't know whether that's good or not. That's kind of where my head went first. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That would be neat to try because Kylo's 17 points. Honestly, I was kind of thinking Kylo was borderline anyway, to be honest with you. And I think now, I think RDM Kylo probably gets a -1. I think, to be fair. Or, maybe he won't get it probably on set release, but I think maybe like mid-balance, like probably RDM Kylo gets a -1 because I think the argument could have been there for it anyway, except that you didn't want him to go with a lot of the 14s, like Taron, right? Although isn't Taron 15? Either way, you don't want him to go with 14s. Yeah, and like we're totally in the weeds, and I'm not even talking about spoilers anymore. We're talking about where I think things might go. But yeah, so I think, but I do, right? If we're looking at these kind of curves, Kylo has 12 health at 17. This guy's got 11 health at 10, 13. So there's an argument to be made for that, right? Because like I said, I think it was on the bubble before anyway. So wouldn't hate to see Kylo. I don't know why. Well, I know why the conversation shifted to Kylo, but forgive me. I really like Tarkin. That 2 focus is really scary. So I was also thinking early on, like when I first saw him, I was like, oh, you know what might be cool is like doing a Moff Gideon deck with him, right? Because there's a ton of focus out there. And then I was like, well, I think you really want to play Gideon with yellow, right? Just because you want the overwrites, like you want to be able to steal something, take the, if you're going to do the Gideon thing, you want to be able to get something out of it, right? So I think that's the key there. Playing with, just because it gives you more bigger upgrades, right? I guess you could do blue and try to overwrite, but I don't know, yellow just feels better, right? Vibro Cutlass feels a lot better. So Vibro Cutlass, I forget. I think it's Vibro Sword. Feels anyway. You guys, I think you guys pick up what I'm laying down. So yeah, and then we'll see where he lays in the new set. Do you have Pre-Vizsla? But pairing those, the two, probably too convenient. I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of cool. 10-13. It's a good point cost. Good point cost. And this guy's really cost effective for what he does. Okay. So, and then now let's talk power action real quick. Like I said, you can miss on it. It's a tempo loss. He only has, based on his sides, with him only having a 1 discard. Like I don't think he's really built in a mill archetype. It doesn't mean he couldn't. But I don't think that's their thing. It's just really like... It's kind of weird though, right? Because like you basically... as long as your deck is for the most part 0s, 1s, and 2s, because that's what most people play, except for maybe their upgrades. So you can probably fit... And then I guess if you're doing that, then I guess you can actually... Okay... Because if you're planning on abusing his or using his action, you can probably play a little higher cost curve, knowing that you're going to get rid of some of your higher cost cards, right? On average, right? And by I don't mean like high cost cards like 3 or 4, but like I'm thinking like the 2 range. Like you could probably run more 2s, because generally that's what you're going to try to do, right? It's like fish out their Headstrong, fish out their Power of the Tribe, fish out whatever the heck 2 cost blue removal, because there's like 9 of them, right? And yeah, I think maybe that's the play here is you're running like enemy is the leader and like you can empower the tribe with him too, right? So I think that's the play, right? You run a few more 2s than you'd be normally comfortable with, and then you'll still have your 0s and your 1s to take their good stuff. But like, usually like you're going to trade, I mean, sure, you will trade one of your 1s for one of their good ones, I guess, depending on what it is. But like, are you going to trade your removal for their removal when their die are probably better than, and I mean, I'm talking with Tarkin, but like, if you're looking at a key die versus a Tarkin die, like I think you'd rather have your removal instead of trading it for theirs, you know what I mean? But on the blowout removal, right, because you've got that 2 focus, since you're going to try and go multiple dice and like hit bigger, you don't want them to have their blowout removal. That's kind of where I'm at here, right? So I think that's how you play this guy. I think you have like more 2s. I mean, not a bunch. I'm not a crazy person here, right? But like I think you go a little higher 2s because you can safety valve those 2s by getting rid of stuff. And at the very least, you pitch to reroll if they're playing some like low cost curve deck. But anyway, yeah, I mean that's good chat. Actually, I think that's pretty reasonable with this guy. But again, we'll have to see how the set develops, right? If we get any more, I mean, we already have quite a bit of blue or 2 cost blowout type stuff. If we get some more in this set, I think it's almost a no-brainer. And on the flip side, you're playing them too, right? So. All right, next is Separatist Supply Ship. So supports 1 cost support vehicle, red villain. Action, exhaust the support to play red support with matching die from your discard pile, decreasing its cost by 1. I mean, the obvious statement there is you can't recycle your VPDs, right? I mean, that's what this is. Or your mouse droids, I suppose, right? But I mean, that's what it is. It wants you to... It's kind of like an inverse tech team, but it's exhaustible, right? So like you have like this discard based tech team, right? But I mean, you can still tech team on top of that, right? So this one's kind of interesting, right? If you get, I don't know, like let's say with Tarkin, and you drop some Outland Ties or something, you can Separatist Supply Ship them back, right? So I drop my Outland Tie to get rid of your blowout removal, and then I bring back my Outland Tie for -1 because I've already got an Outland Tie in play, and then -1 on this with ambush. That doesn't suck, right? So I think that's probably your play, right? I mean, is my math and logic right there, right? So I'll PA Tarkin, I'll chuck a 2. I've got an Outland Tie in play. I think the logic there holds, right? Well, yeah, I think I think that works. I think it works. So anyway, that's a play. I mean, so that's the type of stuff you could do with that. I mean, this doesn't suck with Tarkin bringing back stuff. And if they do reprint something like Conscript Squad or whatever else gets printed, like you could have 1s and 2s that you're intending to chuck and bring back. That doesn't seem horrible, right? It's kind of a cool. Yeah, it's cool, right? As long as you can especially if you're trading one of your poor cards or a card you plan on bringing back for less for one of their good cards in their hand, that sounds like a deal, right? So I'm pretty sure like a Beacon or like a rando or somebody like this is going to figure out like some, because I guess yeah, those guys are both on the kind of the ping curse, don't need to roll dice type deck. So like I think that probably they're the ones that figure out some way to like kind of it has to be matching die. Oh, it has to be matching die though. It's all right. So I was gonna say like and it has to be red, but I was gonna say something like improvised explosive or something like that. That's where my head was, but again, it has to be matching die. So anyway, we will see what the smart minds do with this one. All right, last up is the AAT. So 4-drop. This card 4-drop, 3 gun for 1, 3 gun for self-harm, 4 indirect for self-harm, disrupt, 2 shield, and a resource. No blank, which is relevant. Screw you Inquisitors, right? But power action, spot a leader to roll this die into your pool. So you get it twice, but basically any damage this die does is good, but is not ideal, right? Because like you don't want to take the 4 indirect for 1 kind of feels bad, but like I think you'd rather take the indirect than have to. Right. The nice thing about the indirect is that you don't have to have a resource in your pool. you can choose where to put it, right? So like taking the indirect's way better than paying 1 in most cases. I mean, again, there's always an early versus late game there. I get it, but like it's better than like my point is here. You compare the 3-for-1 resource and the 3-for-1 indirect. You'd much rather do the 3. You'd much rather get the 2 side there, right? Because then you don't need to worry about there being money in your pool, right? And then you can roll it back in, so you get it twice. One thing that's always bothered me about the AAT, this is not Destiny related. One thing that's always bothered me about this is like, why is it being driven by droids, right? Like the Separatist army has this like whole fleet of like AI vehicles, but yet AATs and STAPs need a little stupid droid to drive them. Like, can you just like take the chip and put it in the vehicle? You know what I mean? Anyway. But then I guess you couldn't have your guy riding in the tank, your Lock Dirt or whatever riding in the tank. So whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is, when I saw this, one thing I will say is when I saw this, I was like, I mean, I was 99.9% sure Mega Blasters wasn't coming back anyway. But like when we saw this, I was like, oh, here's a 4-drop. Mega's not coming back. So that's the roll. I mean, yeah, it's because it's multi-die type thing. And like, don't forget, Blizzard is still a thing. Like, woof. So anyway, that is it for week 1. So week 1 was a success. So thank you guys for sharing all of those with us. Very excited for week 2. Like I said, I was busy this weekend. I just couldn't shoot this till then, or until now. And week 2's already started. We've already seen some stuff for week 2. Expecting more. Hoping for 3 sets this week. So hoping for 9 spoilers to look at early next week. So I will see you guys then. Let me know what you guys are thinking about everything, right? I mean, some of the, are you worried about the health? You should be hopefully very, very excited. There's some pretty cool characters, a lot of really cool, I mean, just look at how much we chatted about all the ways to play things. Like the set is shaping up to be pretty, it's got like redemption overtones to it, to me, in terms of like the way things are going to overlap and kind of mishmash. I think it's going to, it's shaped, well, again, we've only seen 6 cards, well, seven. So, things are shaping up to be good, but we will have to see as it goes. But yeah, let me know how you guys are thinking about it, crazy combos or whatever, or, places you guys have thought to use this stuff. And anyway, let us know in the comments. Make sure to get that like, subscribe, get those up so more people can see them. If nothing else, folks, go Commando.